I'm heading out to Central Park today to check on what I am reasonably certain is the last outdoor payphone. Until probably about a year ago, I think there were about a dozen, and only one of them worked. Today I'm pretty sure they're all gone except for this one, although I haven't been out here in a few months. I think I was last there in December or January, and the phone was still present but did not work. It's at the boathouse, which is where during the summer months you'll see people navigating their remote controlled boats on the lake. It's actually pretty cool. I just remember being surprised how many, not so much how many phones were left, but how long the Central Park Conservancy let them sit out there. You'd think they'd be interested in keeping the grounds pristine. That's what I've never liked about Central Park, is that it's artificial. I just don't consider it a real trip to nature or anything. But so if it's still here, what I believe to be the last outdoor phone in Central Park is at the Conservatory Water, or the Curbs Boathouse to be exact. I always forget there are two boathouses, maybe even more. The Loeb Boathouse, the Curb Boathouse. This is where, oh wow, there's no water in the lake. This is where during the season you'll see people out here with their remote control boats on the lake. It's actually pretty cool. But last time I was here was December or January, I think. So it's been a few months. And I had reason to believe at that time that this phone might be getting fixed, might be restored to service. So let's see if that actually happened. I can see the phone from here. I can see a payphone from a mile away. So that's a start, that it's still there, still exists. I made a few interesting calls from this one. One time a few years ago I got what I guess you'd call a fan letter from someone who saw me in a documentary film about payphones, and she sent me a handwritten letter to my PO box, my 181, and we ended up arranging a little tour of Central Park and sort of Columbus Circle area payphones. There were still a pretty decent quantity of them back then. But when we got to this one, I showed her how you can, this is one of the phones where you can dial *10 to get the daily prayer or a live prayer counselor. And I would iterate that I'm not religious, but there is something enchanting about that service. So we did that, and I stood by as she talked to a live prayer counselor about who led her in a prayer for her mother, I believe. It was nice. This is also where I came here and I picked up the phone, the handset, and a woman who was standing over here saw me doing this, and she's like, "Do you want to use my cell phone?" She just seemed to think it was unacceptable that anybody would be using a public pay telephone. So here it is. Looks like the phone signage from the top is missing. There's a nice affirmation. Handset's a bit scratched. And there are the free calls you can make. *10 is, depending what phone you use, you'll either get a recorded mini sermon, or you'll get a live person who asks you who or what do you want to pray for. There's a Bitcoin sticker that's half gone. Anyway, let's see if it works. Negative. I'm guessing nobody's been out here to fix this since last year at least. It shows 2 phone numbers, and I have it documented somewhere which one was accurate. You can dial *88 for repair, but not if the phone doesn't work. But yeah, right as it was just like this, I picked this up, and I hear somebody say, "Sir, would you like to use my cell phone?" And I thought, yeah, tourist, right? Somehow handing off your $1,000 cell phone to a stranger in the park maybe isn't the smartest idea. I guess the landline is still intact in that metal tube, but this was it though. This was the last working phone in Central Park, and it really cries out to be fixed. Cries out, I tell you, it's crying out. I hear it weeping. I'm gonna check on a couple other locations around here, but I have to assume that if last time I was here, I checked on 4 or 5 locations up from Central Park North down to here, and they were all gone. It did surprise me how long the Central Park Conservancy left those things out here, because they became eyesores. The handsets got all beat up and twisted, and just not the sort of thing you expect from a park known for its pristine manicure. I don't remember this being empty before, but it's not something that crosses my radar all that much. A distinct positive about the fact that none of the phones here work, or the one phone doesn't work, and none of them had worked for years, or most of them hadn't worked for years, is that they still have these things dotted throughout the place, and assuming they work, you at least have some access to an emergency phone if you lose yours and something bad happens. The same cannot be said for huge swaths of New York City, but where there's absolutely no access to an emergency phone should you lose yours or have it stolen from you or whatever. Assuming these work, this is certainly a positive. And certainly a decent quantity of people out here today compared to previous visits during the pandemic. Looks like most of the restaurants are still closed though. And live music is back. I think I'll go this way. Beautiful looking creatures, but they will bite your fingers right off.
they've just made a lot of those. If I wake up at 5, say I were to my goal is to get up at 7.
Wow, these are still here. I did not expect to find any others. These have been dead for a long time. All the identifying information is gone, except for the phone number. Oops. That's probably on my website somewhere. Meant to do that at the last one. Occupy a job on Wall Street, and there's a pen from Deutsche Bank. Oh, this still has a 9X brand on it. These were Verizon. In the end, I don't think these ever went over to PTS. I think PTS only picked up the one. Yeah, this one didn't have the 9X brand. No, I think these were Verizon in the end. These are on the bathroom building next to the sheep meadow. For the longest time, I thought the sheep meadow was called the heap meadow because the letter S was missing from the sign the only sign that I saw indicating what this place was called. I thought it had been named in honor of somebody named Heap. Uriah Heep. So these things are still hanging on. Their landlines look like they're still intact. But these are not coming back to life. Ever. To be more precise, they're actually at the L'Open Cotillon, which has public bathrooms on the side. Like everything else here, it's closed, but will reopen eventually, I guess. But yeah, those phones are gone, and they're not coming back. But if you needed a phone, lucky for you, there's another one of those yellow boxes, which, assuming it works, could be a lifesaver. Reason I don't open the cabinet to even see if there's a phone in there is, as I learned the hard way, simply doing that is enough to set off an alarm. Set off an alarm in the park precinct office, park police precinct, or somewhere, I don't know. I wonder if that's a Wi-Fi antenna. But looks like it's solar powered. I discovered that opening these emergency phone cabinets sets off an alarm somewhere. Just simply opening the cabinet, forget about even picking up the phone. I learned that when I was showing somebody the emergency suicide crisis counseling telephone that I had installed on the Triborough, on the RFK Triborough. That phone should have my name on it, I say, but I was just showing this phone off to somebody, and in the process I opened and shut the cabinet several times. And next thing you knew, I had summoned the full force of the New York Police Department. There must have been 30 cops up there, and they thought that when this alarm just kept going off over and over again, they must have thought somebody was distressed enough to consider making a call, but not willing, not able to follow through with it. So they came up there thinking, it was kind of eerie actually, all these cops up there thinking that I was about to jump off a bridge. And it took some convincing before they let me go, because they didn't want to deal with that shit. So just take that little bit of advice. If you don't want to annoy the police or have them come out and yell at you, just don't mess with those emergency boxes unless you really need to. There are too many statues in this park, but once they're there, they are there. There's Beethoven looking down at the tree. There's the Bandshell. I was supposed to play in a concert here once, but it got canceled. Actually, I'm not sure it ever got fully arranged or scheduled, but it was supposed to be with a large orchestra, but I seem to remember too many of the musicians couldn't make it or something like that. I don't know. It never happened. I think this is the location of the famous scene from Kramer and Kramer, where the kid goes running to the mother after they get separated. Or somewhere along this path.
So the story goes, they wore the clothes, they said things to make it seem incredible. Well, the lie, like we hoped it was. It took out of a small affair to go with the mouse. I'm the mommy who's getting old. I'm the daddy who's strong to go. I'm the friend there's nowhere to be seen.
Well, there had been at least one phone remaining at the dairy, but it's closed, and I can't really even see inside. Although, see if I can get over the other side. I think that one was gone, though. I can never remember. It looks like access to the other side of the dairy is closed, so I'm not even going to try. Probably nothing to see there anyway. There used to be a phone down here by the Woolman Rink, Which reminds me that I'm only looking at outdoor phones. There is, or at least used to be, a really cool row of 4, I think, phone booths in pristine shape. They were in the locker room at the skating rink. Not this one, the one up further, the one up on the north end of the park, which I believe used to be called the Trump Skating Rink, but they renamed it to, I don't know what, maybe just skating rink. And that was really cool, actually. Those booths were in perfect shape. But the old phone used to be over here. And I remember last time I saw it, it was all beaten up and in bad shape. And now I think it's probably just gone. Yeah, I'd be seeing it already. See if I can do some forensic analysis to find evidence that I'm not making this up. I think that little patch of black dirt is where it was. It sort of fits, I mean, that's the shape of a payphone stand at the base of it. Actually, now that I come back here, I think this is where it used to be. Those two spikes or former poles or whatever they were. Some evidence of the payphone that used to be here, as well as the appropriately shaped cement base. So that's more likely the spot than the previous thing. Well, here I am. I'm surprised again to see that I can tell from here that the enclosure is still there. I have to get up closer to see if the phone is still there. Last time I was here, it was all beaten up, and I think the handset was split in two. This is the Carousel, which is like everything else here is closed. That looks like the phone is there.
That hot? No, not like this. I don't know how.
Okay, the handset is gone. There's the 9X brand and Verizon. This one was another one that was never picked up by PTS. Really surprised though that the Conservancy lets these things molder away. I think they'd be more interested in decorum and such. There's where the handset cord used to be. Cha-ching. Yeah, right. Yeah, there's something in there. Don't want to know. It looks like they got rid of all the ones up on the north end of the park, but didn't work their way down here. I think that's it. This was the last one that I knew of. This end of the park, except for the dairy. That black building with the white frame behind the Plaza Hotel is where I had my first real job in New York. I shouldn't say real, because all jobs are jobs. All jobs are real, but before that I had only worked at as a clerk at a record store and as an admin at this really weird classical music company out on Long Island. That job I did genuinely get fired from. I was joking the other day about getting fired from CNN, but that job I deserved to get fired, but the job really sucked. How can you do a job when you hate being there? But whatever the case, I got my first lasting job in that building, and this is the 9 West 57th Street building. When I say it was a real job, it was the first job where I felt there was a future, that there was some possibility of development and a path upward and all that. The other jobs, there was none of that. And I was there for about 3 years until the internet came along, and everybody thought I was crazy for giving up a solid future at this company for this newfangled fad called the internet. But I went over to Time Warner about 7 blocks down, and basically never looked back. But I have nothing but good memories about the job I had there, though, at 9 West 57th. It was a cosmetics company, Avon Products, and I started out as a temporary word processor and worked my way up to package development coordinator, which sounds painfully boring, but it's actually a lot more interesting than you might think. Okay, my battery life is holding up pretty well, so I'm going to see how some of these Madison Avenue phones are looking. This is Madison and 60th. This is one of the ones with the nipple keypad. No dial tone there. I really hate these nipple keypads. Nothing doing here. And since they got rid of those 9th Avenue payphones, I think that the percentage of phones that don't work in New York might as well be 100%. And across the street is the payphone killer, of course. Let's see if it works. And there's another one on that corner. You can never have enough advertising screens. Yeah, this one is missing a big ad space. Okay, let's see. Yeah, blink and you'll miss it. Is this useful to anybody? That's an honest question, or is it just eye candy? Because the bus route numbers are kind of colorful. It looks like it has a pulse. Although I saw this as I approached. This ad panel is dead. Let's see if the phone works. This little eyeball was reserved for future use as a like a FaceTime thing, a video phone feature that they never implemented and probably never will. But now you hit the button to show the phone number that you just punched in to make sure you got it right.
So, anyway, the nearest number is probably desired by a lot more people than me.
Oh, that's funny. I dialed into Payphone radio where I'm talking about acquiring the number that I just dialed. I think I had to practically beg to get that number, but it was worth it. And I got it fair and square. It's not like I stole it or lied or anything. But anyway, the phone works, so there you go. These are on 62nd Street, off of Madison. Oh, look at this. The ad window is open. You can put anything you want in there. And I bet you this artist across the street would be happy to do that. There's no real secret to opening these things. This one probably just opened on its own, but it's not difficult to find a key to open these things. There's nothing unique about each one. These are PRAYphones. Madison Avenue is actually where there she is. That lightsaber flash is annoying, but it unquestionably illuminates what's there. Let's see if she did both sides. Yep. It's amazing how consistent. It's almost like she used a branding thing, a branding iron. Oh, this time she added a heart. Or did she? Maybe she tried to. Well, these are actually in reasonably good shape. Is there Pray, though? I don't think so. I've looked for this. I've been to Madison many, many times. Madison is where I first encountered Pray. I mean, not first. I first encountered her back in 1991. But I assumed that she was gone, that her work had all just faded away. But it wasn't like that. It was Madison up on, I think it might have been 70th Street, where I was talking into the phone one time, and a stroke of sunlight hit the inside of the payphone enclosure just so perfectly that it illuminated the go to church thing, which would have just remained invisible to me if it hadn't been for that small miracle, if you will. It gave me goosebumps. I mean, since then I found her on so many phones it just became kind of monotonous, but it was just incredible that this message that she had sent all those years ago, message sent, is still being received. There's a couple of them across the street at 66th Street now. Those look like they should be PRAYphones. This is as far back as I can get. Oh, look. Womp, womp, womp. That number should be on my website somewhere. This phone looks to be in pretty decent shape. Yeah, well, I spoke too soon. And there's...
I'm hoping that
The thing about it all, though,
There she is again. I'm not going to go through all of these because that flash really chews up battery quickly, but she's there. but I don't see Pray itself. I don't remember that being here. Madison and 68th. I think I'm only going to go up as far as 72nd because I slept way too late today and I got to get back. This looks like it should be a PRAYphone. So here's something fun you can do with these things. You dial that number, which is a U-Law, telephone diagnostics.
This is U-Law. Record your test message, then press pound.
Record my test message.
Record my test message.
Okay, so
Press
here's,
1 to
so if you want to wake up a
record
neighborhood
playback test.
late at
Press 2
night,
for DTMS testing. Press
dial this
3
number
for
and hit.
real-time echo test. Press 1 to repeat the record, please. Press 1 to repeat the
If you really
record
wanna-
playback test. Press 2 for DTMS testing.
I'm getting some looks. Yeah, so I said I was getting some, I think I cut myself off there. I was getting some looks from people across the street as well as from somebody who was in a car waiting for the light to change because that was pretty damn loud. I don't know if this really demonstrates how loud it is, but another thing you can do, and I have to call in again. Yes, I'm still here. Ah, fuck. I'm gonna pause. Test message.
Press 1 to repeat the record playback test. Press 2 for DTMS testing. Press 3 for real-time echo test.
But here's the other thing you can
Press
do.
4 for music got hold. Press 5 for a call.
Now with the first one, that's a milliwatt test. With the first one, you have to stand there and press the 6 key over and over again to keep the noise coming. With number 9, you can just let it go. So, if you happen to know of one outside of, well, use your discretion in how you might want to execute that little trick. This is actually pretty cool. This is Park Avenue on the median at 70th Street. And just wait a second, I'll show you the signage. Zhen, Eternity, male figure, statue of Venus Gentrix. Commissioned by the Asia Society, which is right here. Very nice. I'm over on, where am I? 3rd Avenue now at 66th Street. I'm heading back downtown to the subway. I'm guessing that's not actually a tip on getting a job on Wall Street. Oh, I didn't check the dial tone, but yeah, nothing doing. This one looks to be in decent shape at least. And this barber has one big ass pole. That's the biggest barber's pole I've seen. It really does make you dizzy or cross-eyed to stare at these things for too long. On East 61st Street off of 2nd Avenue. Third Avenue rather, sorry. (61st Street at 2nd Avenue. It looks like somebody may have attempted to use these phones, but probably came away frustrated. Let's see. Oh, that's clever. This one actually has a bit of a crackle in it. Sounds like there's some sign of life here, but no dial tone. Yeah, it's making a sustained crackling noise now. But that's it. So I'm gonna head home, and maybe later I'll check in on the Steinway Street payphones that look like they might never go away. Bottom line though, whether I make it there or not, bottom line is I did not find a single dial tone today. I didn't expect to, but I'm always open to unexpected surprises.